President of ORGALIME, the European Engineering Industry Associations, I would like to thank the organizer for the kind invitation and to add my welcome to you all. I am the co-manager of a small, long-established, family-run company active in the mechanic industry. We manufacture valves in brass and steel, and systems in heating, ventilating, air conditioning, in the installation both for buildings and industrial sites. We are one of the 130,000 companies belonging to the ORGALIME associations through 38 national associations from 23 countries, gathering altogether an output of over 1,800 billion for over 10 million of employees. Our industry plays a strategic role in the economy of Europe. The engineering industry are both major purchaser of material produced by the primary transformation industries and of services, as well as the supplier of capital goods and services to all sectors of the economy. In other words, capital goods are we manufacture machines, tools to manufacture machine tools for all industries. This is the industry that provides the technological solution to the challenges that the climate change, sustainable consumption, and the energy security agenda pose. In brief, the engineering industries are at the core of Europe's industrial fabric. All other production and services sectors depend on the equipment, technology, and innovation of our industry to flourish and to develop. We are the largest industry sector and a key player in the EU vision of Europe working together for growth and jobs. In the last few years, however, manufacturing industry has not been at the forefront of Europe's policy, which has focused more on climate change, renewable energy, and more recently on resource efficiency and, of course, the currency, financial, and now, in the end, economical crisis. Now that Europe is at last becoming conscious that after the austerity measures, it will be essential to have a motor for economic growth, which governments are unable, and consumers unwilling to provide. Policymakers are once again looking at manufacturing as the answer of providing growth and jobs. Now we must get companies to invest more in Europe. And it is with this in mind that the Commission published the Industrial Policy Communication in October last year. With 5 out of the 6 main follow-up actions in the communication aimed at providing support of these manufacturing sector technologies and setting the target to increase industrial output of 20% of the GDP. With this base in mind, the European Commission has now acknowledged the central role of the manufacturing, and this sector in particular will play in Europe's recovery and long-term prosperity. This is a good piece of news. At last, industrial policy is on the agenda, and a target of 20% industry output as part of GDP was set. This is for sure very important for creating new employment. But the question now is, so how do we get companies to invest, particularly to invest for production and fabrics of the future here in Europe? A response can be by making sure that the new industrial policy focuses on reducing the cost of doing business in Europe and therefore makes the EU attractive as manufacturing location. But now, second question, is the EU actually capable of delivering? We can only reach the 20% target if industrial policy really becomes the central policy of the EU institutions and that the focus is on competitiveness, growth, and therefore, again, employment. We now need to focus then on this one target and not on multiple policy, many targets, different targets. Just focus firmly on this. Otherwise, many targets can contradict one another. This is what we have stressed in our manifesto for a greener and stronger Europe, whose key points are now on the screen. Well, all these are main thematic chapters. Our manifesto, Manufacturing a Stronger and Greener Europe, to reach the 20% of the GDP. We have no time to get through all the chapters, but I would like to briefly comment three of them. First of all, is most important what we said to the Commission, to the President Barroso. Coherent and predictable regulation, improving existing rules instead of creating new ones, by reducing the burden of new legislation, in particular for SMEs. Second theme, a balanced energy policy. It is better manage support to green energy technologies, reliable and affordable energy, and reasonable carbon reduction. Reasonable global carbon reduction targets instead of unilateral European targets. Otherwise, we become weaker against other global area economy. Third issue, competitive labor markets. By restricting additional labor costs, creating modern, effective, and employment-friendly social and protection system, but combating over-regulated national labor markets. Only if Europe is able to address this issue, we will be able to stay competitive on an international level. We have carried this message in our manifesto to the top of the Commission. We have done this with the Commission President Barroso at our General Assembly November last year, as well as with other commissioners and our colleagues in the industry community in Europe. What does, now the next point, what does our industry expect from the EU's research and development and innovation policy? We are active in the area of R&D, both as ORGALIME as well as a partner in EFRA, which was set up by our network with the support of the Manufacture Technology Platform. Let me say a few words about the EU R&D policy of the past and the new EU R&D and innovation policy. We have now had, I guess, with the new platform for the next 7 years, Horizon 2020, the third word which is so important, innovation. Of course, it goes without saying that if you make research and development, you have to innovate. But the past platform was not just for innovation. Now we have to focus on this very important word for all industry, but particularly for small and medium industry. That's my point. I will be honest with you. Before becoming president of ORGALIME, my view on European R&D policy and instruments was in fact not a positive one. neither from colleagues within my company, nor from businessmen whom I dealt with in the last 30 years, have I ever heard a statement like, I am part of a great EU R&D project, you should join too. Rather, remarks such as, keep away from EU R&D stuff. It is complex, it is bureaucratic, it is academic, and not all industry relevant reaches my ear. Since I'm becoming president of ORGALIME, I am, as a matter of fact, still meeting some people who say the same. EU R&D funding is very complex and ignores core industry relevant topics. It's still true. However, in the past years and months, for the first time, I am told that since 2010, things have changed, positively I mean, through the launch of the PPP, Public-Private Partnership, notable the Factories of the Future PPP. So let us acknowledge that there are parts of the framework program which are truly industry relevant. This is, again, a positive news. And if this word is spread, then interest of industry will increase even more in all sides. Let's have access and acknowledge this success. We have to keep in mind, however, that the vast majority of European companies do not even consider getting involved into European R&D program. Then, how can we change this and make them aware that there is a mission and that they are missing a chance? They miss a chance to work together with other top engineers from other companies to create new technologies, new growth, new employments for our European company and communities. Especially through creation of ETP, European Technology Platform, and then PPPs, the opportunity of networking between industry, academia, and governmental officials has increased, and so have the road mapping and priority setting activities. As you know, PPPs were established under the current framework program 7, has increased, and so have the road mapping and priority setting activities. Now, the industry has received some freedom to determine the right research priorities by shaping and co-determining the calls for proposals. We will hear about this later from something more on that from Massimo Mattucci and Maurizio Gattiglio from EFRA. On another topic, I would like to utter one word of caution. Scientists and politicians often tend to think that research and innovation mostly deals with breakthroughs and breakthrough technologies. What I can say here from my personal experience, innovation is sometimes, but not too often, rocket science. You do in one clock. Most innovation, in particular in manufacturing and in the core enabling industries which I represent, is a long and arduous step-by-step process which originates from the request of our clients or on our shop floors, for sure coming from the market demands, and which we then developed, often also with the help of specialist research institutes. Please consider this in our discussion today and tonight. Now, I go to the conclusion, but please let me summarize my thought in this slide. The key thought for policymakers in Europe should be, if our company invests in research, development, and innovation, will they do that in Europe? For this, it is the framework condition under which companies operate that will make or break the future development. It depends very much on that, whether the future development in Europe will be done or outside Europe. The core points are outlined on my slide. The area of production technologies is one where EU leads the world. Maintaining leadership in areas that are at the core of all manufacturing processes is essential in the light of EU 2020 strategy. Therefore, the factories of the future PPP need to be further strengthened. Research, technological development, and innovation are essential to maintaining the worldwide technological leadership that our industry has acquired in many areas, and European research policy plays a significant role in underpinning this position. We have to go on strongly on that. At the national level, we need a framework which educates young people for better jobs. Shortage of skills is an issue today and will become even more of an issue as our population gets older. Continue to focus on an aggressive trade agenda. We represent an export industry which in the last years has been profitable mainly because of our external markets. Export is the core business today for European industry. The EU and US transatlantic trade and investment partnership is important, and so for our industry is the free trade agreement with India. Finance, this remains a key issue. Particularly in some countries, access to finance is often difficult. And there is a wide difference in the cost of credit when it is available depending on where you are borrowing. I have to say that finance is of basic importance because we have a finance that globally is more dedicated to make speculation, to make money, because, you know, money makes money. And I think that small and medium enterprises today needs financing support like the air to prosper for sure, but even to survive. And I guess that the bank system are not meant only for making money, but I guess that it's to support very much industry, particularly small and medium enterprises. In other words, we need that the bank system goes with the small and medium enterprises hands in hands as they did in the past century. In the end, the name of the game is industry. Small and medium enterprises are the backbone of European industries because only by improving the industrial competitiveness we can create growth, technology, new technologies, new jobs and employments. However, concerning the finance issue, thanks to the Commission for keeping work on this. On a practical level, we are pleased with the recent discussion with the EIB on the financing of advanced manufacturing technology, energy efficiency and infrastructures, which is now being analyzed and we hope will be taken into account. Lastly, I am at the end. Let me say that I am enjoying today's discussion among participants who are fully aware that it is manufacturing that has generated a sustainable welfare for our society, and that only manufacturing has the potential to maintaining this level of social sustainability. I very much hope that the ideas of exchange during this evening debate will help to come to a common understanding about the right R&D and innovation frameworks for manufacturing in Europe. Thank you for your attention.